All right, welcome to our class, everyone. This is part 3 of the Esau understanding. We hope that you have enjoyed what you've read so far on YouTube, what you've listened to so far on YouTube, and we want you guys to get a clear understanding. We're in Joshua chapter 47, and this is the death of Isaac. So we're going to begin here. So here we go. It says, and Isaac, the son of Abraham, was still living in those days in the land of Canaan. He was very aged, 180 years old. And Esau, his son, the brother of Jacob, was in the land of Edom. And he and his sons had possessions in it amongst the children of Seir. Remember, they were in Mount Seir. And Esau heard that his father's time was drawing nigh to die, and he and his sons and household came unto the land of Canaan, unto his father's house. And Jacob and his sons went forth from the place where they dwelt in Hebron, and they all came to their father Isaac, and they found Esau and his sons in the tent. And Jacob and his sons sat before his father Isaac, and Jacob was still mourning for his son Joseph. I think we went over this last week. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Bring me hither thy sons, and I will bless them. And Jacob brought his 11 children before his father Isaac. And he didn't have 12 because Joseph was in Egypt, and Jacob still thought that Joseph was dead. And Isaac placed his hands upon all of Jacob's sons, on all the sons of Jacob, and he took hold of them and embraced them and kissed them one by one. And Isaac blessed them on that day, and he said unto them, May the Elohim of your fathers bless you and increase your seed like the stars of heaven for number. And Isaac also blessed the sons of Esau, saying, May Yah cause you to be a dread and a terror to all that will behold you and to all of your enemies. And Isaac called Jacob and his sons, and they all came and sat before Isaac. And Isaac said unto Jacob, The Most High Elohim of the whole earth said unto me, Unto thy seed will I give this land for an inheritance, if thy children keep my statutes and my ways, and I will perform unto them all the oath which I swore unto thy father Abraham. Now therefore, my son, teach thy children and thy children's children to fear the Most High, and to go in the good way which will please the Most High thy Elohim. For if you keep the ways of the Most High and his statutes, the Most High will also keep unto you his covenant with Abraham, and will do well with you and your seed all the days. And when Isaac had finished commanding Jacob and his children, he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And Jacob and Esau fell upon the face of their father Isaac, and they wept. And Isaac was 180 years old when he died in the land of Canaan. And in Hebron, his sons carried him to the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had brought from the children of Heth for possession of a burial place. And all the kings of the land of Canaan went with Jacob and Esau to bury Isaac, and all the kings of Canaan showed Isaac great honor at his death. And the sons of Jacob and the sons of Esau went barefooted round about, talking and lamenting until they reached Kiriath Arba. And Jacob and Esau buried their father Isaac in the cave of Machpelah, which is in Kiriath Arba in Hebron, and they buried him with very great honor, as at the funeral of kings. And Jacob and his sons, and Esau and his sons, and all the kings of Canaan made a great and heavy mourning, and they buried him and mourned for him many days. And at the death of Isaac, he left his cattle and his possession and all belonging to him to his sons Esau, and Esau said unto Jacob, Behold, I pray thee that our father has left has left, we will divide it in two parts, and I will have the choice. And Jacob said, we will do so. So they are getting ready to divide up the assets that his father had left him. Now, I want somebody to explain to me why Isaac gave the blessing unto Jacob and his children and not Esau. Remember we read that last week?
So it was ordained to be from the Most High, from Abraham down to Isaac, then it could pass on to Jacob and to his 12 sons.
Right, that it was supposed to be that way. Well, why? How come Esau's kids? I mean, he didn't bless it with Esau's children. Wonder why?
The blessing line with Jacob and not Esau. Esau sold his birthright for a pot of stew.
Right.
So the Most High loved Jacob, but he hated Esau. He knew Esau and what he was going to be before Esau was ever born. And the same thing for Jacob. He knew how Jacob was going to be before he was born.
And
Go ahead.
Jacob was chosen.
Yes, he was. He was chosen. And he was chosen by who in the beginning? Now, I'm not talking about Yah. Which one of the patriarchs? Who
Abraham.
chose? Abraham chose. Mm-hmm. Abraham looked at the baby and told Rebekah, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one that my blessing is going to pass to.
But the thing was that it was Yah who chose him.
Yes. Absolutely. This is so important. This is so important that we understand this, because most people try to act like Jacob stole something from Esau. You don't know how many times I've sat in church and the pastors have fixed it like Jacob stole something from Esau. All of this was pre-organized and planned. It was pre-orchestrated and planned by the Most High. He knew who he was going to use to pass this blessing down. And one thing that Esau did that Jacob didn't do, Esau married all kind of women from the same nations that the Most High.
Canaanite women.
Yeah, they were. Absolutely, they were. So
the problem with them was that they had fallen angel blood in them. That was the main thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't because they were Canaanites. But the thing was that what really got Rebekah was the way that they acted. And she knew that they had fallen angel blood in them. And she didn't want her family seeing it like that.
Yeah.
Because they were going to go on and take him away from the Most High.
Yeah, but not only that, didn't the Most High tell Rebekah about her 2 children in the womb and who was going to be the one to serve the other brother? She told the Most High told her, because they were fighting in the womb. Well, they were having their little war in the womb at the time, and she didn't understand what was going on. So the Most High showed her and told her that he's going to bless the younger child, the younger twin, which was Jacob. That was already told to her. She got that pre-told to her. So
pre-told.
So it was known in the family that not only with her, but according to Scripture, with Abraham too. So it was a known thing.
Absolutely, it was known.
Who was going to get the blessing? It was already
known. The blessing was passed to generation to generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Abraham got it from the Most High, and Abraham passed it from the Most High to Rebekah, so that she would understand as far as what was happening in her womb.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Abraham and Rebekah had a conversation, and the conversation was that this is going to be the child that the blessing is going to pass through. Isaac was born. Yes, he was. Isaac was alive, and Isaac's grandchildren were born. Isaac's children were born, and when they were growing up, they went to visit Abraham, and Abraham had an opportunity to study those children, and he said, "This is the one that my blessing is going to go through." This is so important to understand because it covers a lot. And it nullifies all of the mess that we learned in Christianity, the way they spent the story like he stole something. Jacob was a trickster, and without Jacob being tricked, and Esau was tricked out of his blessing. No, this was all pre-planned and orchestrated by the Most High.
Yeah.
All of it was.
Because I remember when I was in Christianity, they said the same thing. Jacob is the deceiver, and all this rigmarole, and it wasn't, because people are they're just not reading the Bible. You just simply have to read it. It's there. And of course, we are blessed because we have this what do you call the Apocrypha. So more information is in the Apocrypha. So we're fortunate for that. I've tried to show my so-called Christian friends the Apocrypha, but they don't want to hear. So I just leave them.
Well, their eyes aren't open yet, but he will eventually open their eyes because he said not one is going to be left behind, not one.
Hallelujah.
So he's not going to leave us. They're going to eventually come, but they have to, they're not going to be left. All right, so here we go, verse 16 of Joshua chapter 47. And Jacob took all that Isaac had left in the land of Canaan, the cattle and the property, and he placed them in two parts before Esau. Okay, separating stuff. And his sons, and he said unto Esau, Behold, all this is before thee. Choose thou unto thyself the half which thou shalt take. Now, I would wish that this would go this smoothly in real life, but unfortunately, it usually don't. It's always a battle between who gets what, unless the person that has died has left clear and concise information as to how it goes. So watch. And Jacob said unto Esau, Hear thou, I pray thee, that I will speak unto thee, saying, the Most High Elohim of heaven and earth spoke unto our fathers, Abraham and Isaac, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land for an inheritance forever. Now therefore all that the Father left is before thee, and before all the land is before thee. Choose thou from then what thou desirest. If thou desire the whole land, take it for thyself and thy children forever. And I will take it.
We're on pause.
I'm sorry about that. Can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Copy that.
Yes.
You can see.
If thou desire the whole land, take it for thee and thy children forever, and I will take this riches. And if thou desire the riches, take it unto thee, and I will take this land from thee and from my children to inherit forever. Now, Jacob gave Esau the choice. Even though the promise was given unto Jacob, he told Esau, whichever one you want to take. If you take the land, I'll take the riches. If you take the riches, I'll take the land. But the Most High knew how it was going to go down because Esau took the riches. Watch. And Nebaioth, the son of Ishmael, was then in the land with his children. And Esau went on that day and consulted him, saying, Thus has Jacob spoken unto me, and thus has he answered me. Now give thy advice, and we will hear. He said, What would you do? And Nebaioth said, What is this that Jacob has spoken unto thee? Behold, all the children of Canaan are dwelling securely in their land, and Jacob saith, He will inherit it with his seed all the days? Go now, therefore, and take all thy father's riches, and leave Jacob thy brother in the land as he has spoken. Now, this is tricky here because Ishmael's son saying to Esau, ain't no way he gonna get all that land and all them people is living in that land. So what you do just to be secure is you take the money and run. That's what he told him. He said, Jacob think he finna get the land of Canaan with all them people dwelling safely? He he said, man, if I was you, I'd take the money. And look at how the Most High set it up. Because the way it looked, that's why I tell everybody, don't ever look at the way it looked. The way it looked, it was mass people in the land of Canaan. They had houses, they had their cattle, they had a system, they had a lifestyle. They was living generation after generation after generation. And Jacob said him and his son is getting ready to inherit all that land. Man, if I was you, I'd take the money and run.
Also, we see Esau does not go to Yah. He doesn't inquire of Yah what he should do.
No, he should. No, he didn't. He went to man, and man, looking at it from a natural standpoint, said, "Ain't no way that man gonna get all that land. He ain't gonna run all the people off that land." That's just like saying Russia belongs to me, and the Most High told me that Russia is mine, and I'm gonna take Russia if you take the money. And everybody else looking at you like, you seriously think you're gonna take over the Russia? You're gonna just move in and move them out? That's exactly. And somebody just laughed, and I'm sure they laughed too when they was having that conversation. Like, you gonna take the land of Canaan? Mm-hmm. Watch. But one thing about it, guess what? If Yah said it, you can bank on, you can take it to the bank. Watch what he says. And Esau rose up and returned to Jacob and did all that Nebaioth, the son of Ishmael, had advised. And Esau took all the riches that Isaac had left, the souls, the beasts, the cattle, and the property, and all the riches. He gave nothing to his brother Jacob, and Jacob took all the land of Canaan from the brook of Egypt unto the river Euphrates, and he took it for an everlasting possession, and for his children, and for his seed after him forever. So the division was cut. They knew what they had. Now watch. Jacob also took from his brother Esau the cave of Machpelah, which is in Hebron, which Abraham had brought from Ephraim for a possession of a burial place for him and his seed forever. So not only did he walk away with that, but he walked away with the cave. Very important. And Jacob wrote all these things in the book of purchase, and he signed it, and he testified all with 4 faithful witnesses. And these are the words which Jacob wrote in the book, saying, the land of Canaan and all the cities of the Hittites, the Havites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Girgasites, all the 7 nations from the river of Egypt unto the river of Euphrates. So guess what? Right there, Jacob got the promise, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Got Abraham. Ain't that what the Most High promised Abraham?
Oh, yeah.
Sure did. Yes,
And he didn't control it yet. He just believed the promise to get it.
He did what he needed to do to move it. Come on, sis. He did what he did. He did what he needed to do to move his piece on the chessboard to where it needs to be. Yes, he did. This is the strategy of Yah. When you really start reading this to understand how Yah's strategy is worked, he used Ishmael's son to convince Esau to take the riches so that the promise that he gave Abraham would immediately go to Jacob.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful.
Wow.
So Jacob believed. Wow. He believed Yah. He had faith in him.
Yes, he did. And not only that, Abraham already spoke how it was going to go, and it went exactly the way he said.
Yep. In Genesis 15, the prophecy came true right there by Ishmael. By Ishmael, or the son of Ishmael, advising Esau to take the money, because there's no way he could conceive that would ever happen. But the Most High had already spoken it to Abraham in Genesis 15.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You better say that again, sis. Absolutely. This is the power of our Elohim. That's why we can't never look at a situation and think we know how the end going to be. He'll reroute everything and restructure everything because his word is not going to what?
It won't come back void.
It ain't going to come back void. It's not coming back void. Under no circumstance. He wrote the end from the beginning. It's not going to come back void. He said it's going to accomplish whereto I sent it to. And it's not coming back void. So he set it all up. Watch what happened. He said, and the city of Hebron, Kiriath Arba, and the cave which is in it, the whole did Jacob buy from his brother Esau for value, for a possession, and for an inheritance for his seed after him forever. And Jacob took the book of purchase and the signature, the command and the statutes, and the revealed book, and he placed them in an earthen vessel in order that they should remain for a long time, and he delivered them into the hands of his children. He said, here go my stuff, like we do as parents. If you need to know where all my stuff is, go to the safe. Just the safe. This is the combination of the safe. It's in this little book right here. You can go in there to spell out everything you need to have. It's right there. Spell it out for you. It's exactly what he did. He placed it down into an earthen vessel in a jar, closed it up, and gave it to his kids. If anything happened, everything you need is in here. We got the bill of sale. We got the signature. We got the receipt. Everything is what you need. We got how everything was set up, what land was split, who got what. This is everything you need. Now, I'm going to tell you something. It's a lot of parents. Exactly. And it's a lot of parents who don't do that. I've seen too many situations where, especially for some reason, black people, they want to keep everything a secret instead of spelling that. If anything happened to me, you go here, you can get this, you'll know where everything is and it's done. Most of us got to go searching for stuff, but that's how he set it up. That's just how Jacob did with his children. Esau took all that his father had left him after his death from his brother Jacob, and he took all the property from man and beast, camel and ass, ox and lamb, silver and gold, stone and bdellium, and all the riches which belonged to Isaac, the son of Abraham. There was nothing left which Esau did not take unto himself, for all that Isaac had left after his death. Esau cleaned it out. When he left, it wasn't nothing but a twig flying across the floor. And they rolled off thinking that they got the better deal. They did. They rolled off with all the money, the servants, everything. And they figured they got the better deal from Jacob.
Yep, they thought they got overrunning.
They thought they got over on him. They sure did. They just didn't know that Yah had a plan. They know. And the lesson is, you got to always consult Yah before you make a move. Do I do door number 1 or do I do door number 2? Don't look at the picture, but always go before Yah and ask him, which road do I take?
Envy not our oppressors.
Say that again. Say it one more time.
Envy not our oppressors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. Watch, here we go, 31. And Esau took all this, and he and his children went home to the land of Seir, the Horite, away from his brother Jacob and his children. And Esau had possessions among the children of Seir, and Esau returned not to the land of Canaan from that day forward. He didn't even look back. He didn't even look back. He left to do what he needed to do. And the whole land of Canaan became an inheritance to the children of Israel for an everlasting inheritance. And Esau with all his children inherited the mountain. That's why I was telling the sis on the phone today. We were talking earlier. We have to go back to the land that our forefather inherited from the Most High to give unto us as a people so that we can continue the story. That's what's happening next. The second Exodus, the biggest event that's going to happen in the earth that's coming up soon.
Hallelujah.
My question is, if it's clearly spelled out in the Bible, and even these extra biblical books where we're supposed to go back, why are some people thinking that we should go back to Africa?
They're trying to confuse you.
Well, I don't know the answer to that, but Canaan could encompass some of Africa. And because the landlines have been drawn so many different times throughout the ages, we really don't know the vast circumference of what Israel, how big it is, I should say. And so, where is Canaan? It belonged to the Canaanites. And if the Canaanites were in Africa, then I could see where some would draw that conclusion.
Okay. Oh, I'm not really confused about it. I'm just wondering why. Why that's. I hear so much of that. Interesting. Okay.
I think also that they are jumping on that bandwagon of that Ghana return to Africa thing because they think that that's where we're originally from because that's where they took us from, that coast.
I can see us going back through there on our way back, but not. I'm not sure that that's our land.
Right. It's not. It's just another one of those places where we ended up in slavery.
Okay.
I'm not sure where Sister Yaina went.
She'll be back.
Yeah. Well, there is a big movement. It's sort of like a big back to Africa movement going on in Israel.
Can you feel the shift in the atmosphere where you are in America? Hello?
Can I feel the shift?
Can you guys feel the shift, like there's something turning in the atmosphere? Then when the Most High said I can't remember if it's in the blessing, the promise, if we obeyed, he said that we will be the head and we will not be the tail. Then it repeats somewhere in the Old Testament that we will be the head again and not the tail. So I just feel like there's a shift in the atmosphere. I know it's not going to happen over here, but what I'm saying, there's something you're feeling, a shift, like something's just different and better for us.
Yeah, I feel a change.
Yeah.
But it's almost as though I'm observing the punishment that we experience, they're beginning to now feel.
That's correct. And I'm trying to explain to my brothers and sisters who are waking up now, because they are being awoken also, and they don't really know what's going on. So I said to them what to read, where to look at, etc. And I said to them, what did I say to them? Can't you see what happened from 2019 August and what happened in September?
Oh, yeah.
And then they said, oh, yeah, it's true, you know. We can see the things that are happening to the other nations now. So sometimes you have to let them go back and look for their history and re-educate themselves with their history, because a lot of our people here don't know their history. And I love history, so I'm always looking for our history and our roots and what we've been through as a people, as a nation, you know, wherever we're scattered in the four corners of the earth. A lot of them don't even know that we got people in the Philippines, in India. We're all over the four corners of the earth, and they don't know this. This is people who are born here from West Indian background, because that's where my parents were born in Jamaica. So even I was born in this country, my so-called roots are connected there. But a lot of them don't even know their roots over there, because we have a lot of roots information about our people, you know, what happened in slavery over there. And a lot of things went down in Jamaica. It was very terrible. And a lot of them don't know about it over here. So I try to, you know, do my best to give them the information so they can go out and also do their research and see what they can gain for it. But everything matches up with Scripture anyway.
Hello.
That's right.
Excuse me. It looks like Sister Yaina is going on with the presentation. So
I think she's reading. She's still reading.
Maybe somebody needs to send her an email.
We've been disconnected.
I'll text her.
It looks like we've been totally disconnected.
Oh, can anybody just send her a quick email?
I will.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
See, Joshua 57.
Yeah.
But there's nothing coming up, you know.
Yeah, but in that sense, I do sense a shift.
Maybe, it's just a time for us to talk.
Say that again, please.
I said, it seems like y'all wanted us to talk. He wanted us to talk.
Is there a brother online from Jamaica? Is that the brother from Jamaica?
Yeah, I'm from Jamaica.
What part of Jamaica are you actually from, sir?
I was born in St. Catherine. That's 20 miles from Kingston. 20 miles from Kingston in Glen
No, I know where St. Catherine is. What part of St. Catherine?
Glengorp.
Oh, I don't know that part. I just know I know like Linston.
Yeah, it's close to Linston and Bagwalk, Riversdale.
Yeah.
Amsha.
Yeah. I have a brother from Riversdale, but they live in Canada, and they're still asleep, so...
Okay, somebody said I was muted. I didn't know if you guys could hear me, so I kept saying hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes. Full discussion while you were going, yes.
Okay, good. How much of that did you hear?
None of it.
None of it.
But welcome back.
So,
yeah, you left that the Canaan became an inheritance to the children of Israel for an everlasting inheritance, and that was the last I heard.
Oh, wow. Okay, so then let's go back. So we're going to do this. All right, so.
Yeah, I think the death of Jacob, I think that was your slide, Jacob's death or something.
Yes, the death of Jacob. Very good. Thank you so much. You know, it's amazing how they can just stop everything that you're doing. It's amazing. It just amazes me. But nevertheless, all praises be to the Most High Yah. We're going to keep on doing what we're doing. So what I was talking about was the death of Jacob in Genesis chapter 49. Did you guys hear that?
No.
Okay. Genesis 49 and 28. It says, all these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is that their father spake unto them, and blessed them, every one according to his blessing he blessed them. And I was saying to everyone to make sure of what you speak over your children is positive. Because we've read about how Isaac died, and he blessed Jacob and his sons. He blessed Esau and his sons, and whatever he spoke came to pass. So we have to be very careful with what we speak over our children. Thank you, Athayan, for letting me know that. Verse 29, and he charged them and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephraim the Hittite. In the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephraim the Hittite for possession of a burying place. So he told him, whatever you do, don't leave me in Egypt. I don't want to be left over here. Don't leave my body here. He's giving instructions. Just like I told my children, I don't want to be cremated. Don't burn me up. Put me in the ground. So he's giving instructions. Here we go. There they buried, he said, now listen how the burial went. He said, there they buried Abraham and Sarah, his wife, and there they buried Isaac and Rebekah, his wife. He said, and there I buried Leah. He said, so I want to be buried with them. Don't leave me in Egypt. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is therein was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed and yielded up the ghost and was gathered unto his people. Any questions at all whatsoever on that? Now, that's the Bible version. Now we're going to get into Jasher's version to fill in the blanks as to what happened. Anybody have any questions about that at all?
I would just like to say, basically, that was right what was said about the blessings upon your children's children. And I've always tried to show my mother, because sometimes my mother would say certain things over us. And we said, Mum, you can't say that. You're putting a curse on us. We don't want that. You've got to, return that around. Where when I speak to my son, I always talk positive and always try to say the good things about his life, what he's going to do, how he's going to go forward. Just speaking good things over his life, and it has manifested.
Absolutely.
So that is very true.
Yeah. Because guess what? Every idle word is going to be judged. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Every word that come out of your mouth. You ain't going to never be nothing. You ain't going to do nothing. You lazy. You don't want to do. You got to watch what you say.
Mm-hmm. So true. Very important.
Watch what you say.
And I want to make sure, so all of the patriarchs and their wives, except Rachel, are in the same, that's the same Machpelah, the same cave, even though they're saying Ephraim, the Hittite, it's the same cave.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That was their burial spot. That's what Abraham bought it for that reason. He bought it from Ephraim the Hittite so that they would have a place to be buried. It's like we go to the cemetery and pre-buy our plot, and everybody wants the family to be in the same area. That's what it was like that.
Okay.
Now let's hear Jasher's version of the story. Jasher chapter 57, verse 22. And Jacob ceased from commanding his sons. Listen to what it says. And he drew his feet into the bed. He died and was gathered to his people. Watch. And Joseph fell upon his father, and he cried out and wept over him. And he kissed him and called out in a bitter voice and said, Oh, my father, my father. And his sons' wives and all his household came and fell upon Jacob, and they wept over him and cried in a very loud voice concerning Jacob.
47. She said 57.
It's Jasher chapter 57. 47 was Isaac dying. 57 is Jacob dying. Watch. All the sons of Jacob rose up together, and they tore their garments, and they all put sackcloth upon their loins, and they fell upon their faces, and cast dust upon their heads toward the heavens. And the thing was told unto Asenath, Joseph's wife, and she rose up and put on a sackcloth, and she with all the Egyptian women with her came and mourned and wept for Jacob. And also all the people of Egypt who knew Jacob came all on that day when they heard this thing, and all Egypt wept for many days. And also from the land of Canaan did the women come unto Egypt when they heard that Jacob was dead, and they wept for him in Egypt for 70 days. And it came to pass after this that Joseph commanded his servants, the doctors, to embalm his father with myrrh and frankincense and all manner of incense and perfume, and the doctors embalmed Jacob as Joseph had commanded. He was the first one of us to be embalmed. And all the people of Egypt and the elders and all the inhabitants of the land of Goshen wept and mourned over Jacob, and all his sons and the children of his household lamented and mourned over their father Jacob many days. And after the days of his weeping had passed away, at the end of 70 days, Joseph said unto Pharaoh, I will go up and bury my father in the land of Canaan, as he made me swear, and then I will return. And Pharaoh sent Joseph, saying, Go up and bury thy father as he said, and as he made thee swear. And Joseph rose up with all his brethren to go to the land of Canaan, to bury their father Jacob as he had commanded them. And Pharaoh commanded that it should be proclaimed throughout Egypt, saying, Whoever goeth not up with Joseph and his brethren to the land of Canaan to bury Jacob shall die. So you know that had to be one heck of a funeral procession. Everybody went. People that didn't even know Jacob got up and went. I guess they said, well, look like we going to a funeral. And all Egypt heard of Pharaoh's proclamation, and they all rose up together, and all the servants of Pharaoh, and the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt went up with Joseph, and all the officers and nobles of Pharaoh went up as the servants of Joseph, and they went to bury Jacob in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Jacob carried the bier upon which he laid, according to all that their father commanded them, so did his sons unto him. And the bier was of pure gold, and it was inlaid round about with onyx stones and bdellium. And the covering of the bier was gold, woven work, joined with threads, and over them were hooks of onyx stone and bdellium. And Joseph placed upon the head of his father Jacob a large golden crown, and he put a golden scepter in his hand, and they surrounded the bier as was the custom of kings during their lives. And all the troops of Egypt went before him in this array. At first all the mighty men of Pharaoh and the mighty men of Joseph, and after them the rest of the inhabitants of Egypt, and they were all girded with swords and equipped with coats of mail, and the trappings of war were upon. So they all had their uniforms on. It was the equivalent of the burying of what's his name? Queen Elizabeth's son.
King.
What was his name? What was Queen Elizabeth's husband's name?
Philip.
It was bigger than that. It was a procession that nobody had ever seen, and they was leaving Egypt on their way to the land of Canaan, which was in walking distance, to go bury Jacob. It was bigger than that. All the military was dressed down in their uniforms. He was laid on the goat. They took him out like he was a king. Watch.
Wow, that was amazing to watch.
Wasn't that something amazing to see? And all the weepers and mourners went at a distance opposite to the buyer, going and weeping and lamenting, and the rest of the people went after the buyer. And Joseph and his household went together near the buyer barefooted and weeping, and the rest of Joseph's servants went around him. Each man had his ornaments upon him, and they were all armed with their weapons of war. And 50 of Jacob's servants went in the front of the buyer, and they strewed along the road myrrh and aloes and all manners of perfume. So they was throwing stuff on the road as they walked over it. Like a wedding. You know how the little flower girl throw the flowers down before the bride walk over? They was throwing stuff on the road as they walked over. And all the sons of Jacob that carried the buyer walked upon the perfumery, and the servants of Jacob went before them, strewing the perfume along the road. And Joseph went up with a heavy camp, and they did after this manner every day until they reached the land of Canaan, and they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which was on the other side of Jordan, and they mourned an exceeding great and heavy mourning in that place. And all the kings of Canaan heard of this thing, and they all went forth, each man from his house, 31 kings of Canaan, and they all came with their men to mourn and weep over Jacob. And all these kings beheld Jacob's buyer, and behold, Joseph's crown was upon it, and they also put their crown upon the buyer and encircled it with crowns. And all these kings made in that place a great and heavy mourning with the sons of Jacob and Egypt over Jacob. And all the kings of Canaan knew the valor of Jacob and his sons. Everybody said, we have no idea our history and how rich our history is and how far we go back, because all we have been given in this captivity is jigaboo, twerking, dancing, dope dealers, pimps, and hoes. That's it.
Don't forget slavery.
And slavery. But when they reach back into our culture and give our kids something to look at, that's all we see. Our children never get to hear about this.
Jacob was a very important patriarch because they
he was.
The way his homegoing, I don't like to say funeral, homegoing service was laid out. It was beautiful. And it showed how important he was, because all the kings, even his son who had a crown, laid the crown upon his casket.
Yeah.
So that showed a lot of importance.
And guess what, sis? Not only was he important to men, he was important to Yah. Because Yah did something great. He gave him his name.
Yeah, Israel, yeah.
He gave him his name. He said, I surnamed you. He said, no longer will you be called Jacob, but you shall be called Israel.
Yeah.
Whew. It's getting good. Watch, here we go. And the report reached Esau. Now, here we go. Here go the mess. Saying, Jacob died in Egypt, and his sons and all Egypt are conveying him to the land of Canaan to bury him. And Esau heard this thing, and he was dwelling in Mount Seir. And he rose up with sons and all his people and all his household, a people exceedingly great, and they came to mourn and weep over Jacob. And it came to pass, when Esau came, he mourned for his brother Jacob, and all Egypt and all Canaan again rose up and mourned a great mourning with Esau over Jacob in that place. So not only did he have Egypt with him, but all the people of Mount Seir. This was a heck of a funeral, a heck of a homegoing. This man had birthed the 12 tribes of Israel, our ancestors, the people of Yah. Watch what happened. And Joseph and his brothers brought their father from that place, and they went to Hebron to bury Jacob in the cave by his fathers. So they came unto Kiriath Arba to the cave. And as they came, Esau stood with his sons against Joseph and his brethren as a hindrance in the cave, saying, Jacob shall not be buried therein, for it belongeth unto us and to our father.
Uh-oh.
And Joseph and his brethren heard the words of Esau's sons, and they were exceedingly wroth. And Joseph approached unto Esau, saying, What is this thing which they have spoken? Surely my father Jacob brought it from thee for great riches after the death of Isaac, now 25 years ago. And also all the land of Canaan he brought from thee, and from thy sons and thy seed after thee. Joseph said, what you talking about? You know this deal took place. Why all of a sudden now you going to start some mess? And how many people know that's when the mess started, at the funeral? It do.
Right.
It do. They wait right to the funeral to start some mess when people ain't on it. You know, you already upset, like, don't push the button, because if you push the button, it's going to be hell to pay. Leave me alone. But they always started at the funeral. Jacob said, what? Watch. Now, he got everybody with him. So, I mean, he even got the army of Egypt with him. You know, what you talking about? Watch. And Jacob bought it for his sons and his seed after him for an inheritance forever. And why speakest thou things this day? He said, why you messing with us today when we trying to put our father in the ground?
All day.
Of all days, you want to start some stuff. And Esau answered, saying, Thou speakest falsely and utterest lies. For I sold not anything belonging to me in all this land, as thou sayest. Neither did my brother Jacob buy aught belonging to me in this land. Now, you know it's about to be drama, don't you? You know they're about to cut up. They already heard you. Listen. I'm going to tell y'all a story briefly. I had my niece pass away, and it was some drama, just like this. And when I tell you the police was called, that's an understatement. People was in the street. It got so bad in the church. The pastor had to stand up. And, you know, he was trying to hold his composure because, you know, he from the hood, too. But he had to speak up. He said, now, wait a minute here now. Y'all don't know me up here. Y'all better cut all this. They took it to the street, and the police was called. That's where it's about to go. Because you don't mess with people when they grieving. All them gangsters we had up in the church, that was not the time for that. I'm telling you what. It was terrible, but everybody's feelings is on alert. Everybody's emotions is running high. Our kids is crying because my niece was only 24 years old. Everybody was all up in a mess, and then here come the drama. Same situation. Now, he gonna lie. He said he ain't bought nothing from me. I wouldn't have never sold him nothing in this land. Watch what happened. Watch. And Esau spoke these things in order to deceive Joseph with his words, for Esau knew that Joseph was not present in those days when Esau sold all belonging to him in the land of Canaan to Jacob. Because Joseph was in Egypt at the time. It was only 11 sons. And Joseph said unto Esau, surely my father inherited these things with thee in the record of purchase, and testified the record with witnesses, and behold, it is with us in Egypt. He said, oh no, my father was too on his business for that. He kept a record of everything he did. And Esau answered, saying unto him, bring the records. All that thou wilt find in the records, so will we do. He said, if you got proof. Now, this at the funeral, y'all. He said, if you got proof, bring the proof. Watch what happens. And Joseph called unto Naphtali, his brother, and said, hasten quickly. Stay not and run, I pray thee, to Egypt, and bring all the records.
Hallelujah.
Record of the purchase, the sealed record, and the open record, and also all the first records in which all the transactions of the birthright are written, fetch thou. He said, Naphtali, go get the stuff. And thou shalt bring them unto us hither, that we may know from them all the words of Esau and his sons which they spoke this day. And Naphtali hearkened to the voice of Joseph, and he hastened and ran to go down to Egypt. And Naphtali was lighter on foot than any of the stags that were upon the wilderness, so he would go upon ears of corn without crushing them. And when Esau saw that Naphtali had gone to fetch the records, he and his sons increased their resistance against the cave, and Esau and all his people rose up against Joseph and his people, his brethren, to battle. Now they getting ready to start some stuff, y'all. Watch. And all the sons of Jacob and the people of Egypt fought with Esau and his men, and the sons of Esau and his people were smitten before the sons of Jacob, and the sons of Jacob slew of Esau's people 40 men. Now, you know you don't mess with black folks when they grieving. You're going to get towed up. Woo! You know they was cutting up. They was just cutting up. They was cutting up.
So he sent him to get the records, but before he could get them, they decided to fight anyway.
Oh, yeah, because he knew what it was. He already knew what it was. He was trying.
I'm trying to tell you, this is our kinfolk, man. This is our family.
All family.
And, you know, I was just thinking, he knew that Jacob, how good Jacob was in storing records, because when you think about it, I'm guessing Jacob probably even had the signing of the birthright in his coffers of records that he had. So he knew his brother's meticulous records. That's why he didn't want to come back.
He had it all. That's why he wanted to come back. He said, oh, shoot, I know this thing about to be over with now, so let's just go on and start it before he get back. They tow him up. You don't mess with people when they grieving. Leave people alone. I lived through that. I ain't never seen a church clear out so fast. Folks was with police everywhere. Oh, my goodness. You know? That's not the time for that. You leave people alone. And Cushim, the son of Dan, the son of Jacob, was at that time with Jacob's son, but he was about 100 cubit distance from the place of the battle, for he remained with the children of Jacob's son by Jacob's buyer to guard it. He's like, all right, I don't know what's going on up there because I can't see all the way up there, but we're going to make sure don't nothing happen to this body. We're going to stay by the casket, so make sure don't nothing happen to it. Lord have mercy. This is some stuff I'm telling you.
You can't make this up.
You can't make this stuff up.
It sounds too familiar.
Woo-wee! And Cushim was dumb and deaf. Still, he understood the voice of consternation among men. He knew what was going on. And he asked, saying, why do you not bury the dead? And what is this great consternation? And they answered him the words of Esau and his son. They told him, he said, what's going on? Why we ain't moving? Why the procession done stop? What's happening? And some him. They said Esau and his sons is up there starting stuff. And he ran to Esau in the midst of the battle, and he slew Esau with a sword and cut off his head, and it sprang to a distance, and Esau fell among the people of the battle.
Ooh.
He said, you messing with my grandfather's funeral? Oh, no, I'm about to do you. I told you, you leave people alone when they going through stuff. Don't do it. That was Dan's son. He said, you messing with my ran up to the battle and cut the man's head off, clean off. Yeah. And when Cusham did this thing, the sons of Jacob prevailed over the sons of Esau, and the sons of Jacob buried their father Jacob by force in the cave, and the sons of Esau beheld it. They said, you going to move out the way today, you moving. And Jacob was buried in Hebron in the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had brought from the sons of Heth for possession of a burial place, and he was buried in very costly garments. And no king had such honor paid him as Joseph paid unto his father at his death, for he buried him with great honor, like unto the burial of kings. And Joseph and his brethren made a mourning of 7 days for their father. Any questions at all whatsoever?
So they didn't need the documents after all.
Say that again.
So they didn't need the documents after all.
Ain't no documents had to show up because they took care of business. Ain't no document. And guess what? This battle and this hatred been going on since then.
Yep, I was just about to say this is a family fight that's gone on for a long time.
Long time. Absolutely. A long, long, long time. Absolutely. No question about it. No question about it.
The greedy dog.
No question about it. The death of Jacob. And that's how that's where the battle started between the sons. The fathers had the fathers had their battle, and now the generations is having their battle. And the battle has pursued all this time.
Still fighting the war.
Still fighting the same war. Still fighting the same battle.
And also remember that Esau had slain Nimrod the same way, you know.
He sure did. And guess what? You reap what you sow, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You do. You reap what you sow. We're going to stop there, and we're going to finish it in the New Testament next week. But I just wanted to share that with you so you will understand that this battle been going on a long, long, long time.
Wow.
And it's still going on.
It is still going on today. Because Esau didn't want to be fair and accept it the way it was.
And he's still not fair.
Nope.
I wonder if all that stuff is still in the cave now.
Well, now that's, you know, they have it guarded. I'm gonna show you what the cave of Machpelah looks like today. They do have it guarded, supposedly like they still in it.
I doubt it. Doubt it.
They still have it guarded today, where they can't. And if they were still in it, and if they are still in it, they ain't gonna never let nobody go down there because they gonna figure out that the people in it are black people. They will never allow anybody to go in it because they'll be able to find out at that point that Abraham and all of those people were black.
But they know that already.
I know they know that, but the world don't know that.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they know. They do know it. But the world don't know it. They still don't know it. You know, and that's where the deception has to stay in, and that's where they want everything to remain so that they can do what they want to do and follow the story. They want to continue to control the narrative, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And they really do. They want to continue the narrative.
Well, you can see the position they're in now. They don't want to give up, but Babylon, as I call this country as well, has come to an end. They're finished.
Yeah, pretty much. What a day. I mean, when you really understand it, it is something to be... This story, like I told y'all earlier, this is the greatest story that has ever been told. It really is.
It is.
Oh, yes.
When you really understand the whole dynamic of it all, and you really understand the way that they have set this thing in place, and all of the real history that they have going on, and all of the stuff, and how all of this is coming to a head, and how they're trying their best to try to keep the information from us, and the archives and stuff, because most of the stuff is in Rome, and it's just something. This is something else right here.
But it's like the Most High just opened something and everything's just pouring out. Because all this information is just all of a sudden just pouring out. Every day we're hearing something.
Yeah. Absolutely, sis. Every day it's something to be able to see. It's something that He going to allow you to be able to understand. And it can't be hid. They just can't keep hiding it because He letting them see.
Yeah.
Now they built this. I'm getting ready to put it on the screen for you guys to see. But they done built this gigantic shrine, supposedly the Cave of Machpelah, and they giving grand tours like they always do. You know what I'm saying? For people to pay money to come in to see this place, and it's just incredible. It's like, man, please. But again, are they really? Is this really the place? Because we'll know. We'll never know what this place look like, and if it is where Abraham them are, we just won't never know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But one thing about it, one thing we do know for sure is that when we get ready to go back to where we're going, Abraham them will be there.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
They will be there. And we believe they're going to be there, and we'll be able to ask all the questions that we need to ask and do what we need to do. All of them going to be there. I'm going to open up the screen right now so I can start this. I'm going to show y'all what this looks like from the current slide. Okay, let me open this up. I got 2 slides here I wanted to share. All right, let me know when you can see the screen. That's supposed to be the Cave of Machpelah, okay?
Wow. That's like a castle.
Right, they done built that building over top of it. That's supposed to be it.
Where is this located?
It's in Israel, but it's supposed to be in Hebrew. That's another picture.
It's actually in the Palestinian territory.
Is it in the Palestinian territory?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's supposed to be.
So it's in the Palestinian territory. Is that Canaan?
Well, if it's the case, yeah. If that's the real location, yes, it's in the land of Canaan. But so is Israel. That's just a little slither piece of it, though. The land of Canaan is huge.
Yeah, I know it's huge because I've seen on Yehudah project. I've seen all the diagrams. It's beautiful. The information you gave us is absolutely amazing.
That's why when we went to Washington, D.C., and the lady and her husband came up to us, and she asked me, she said, what do you want? What do you guys want? I said, we want to go home. And her husband said, well, you can't go to Israel because there's people living in Israel. I said, we don't have to go to Israel to go back to the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan is huge. You heard what Ishmael's son told Esau, you see all them people living in all them cities? They're going to steal all that land.
Well, they always say that the heathen nation or the Gentiles, they don't steal, they don't take $1, they take the whole land. So basically, they're not buying your land, but they take the whole land. They steal it for $1. They take the whole land, and that's what they've done. Not $1, but a whole land. Mhm.
So that's supposed to be the building that's over the cave of Machpelah. That's supposed to be the building that they built over it so that they could give tours there. But I mean, who knows for sure at the end of the day? Anybody have any questions or comments?
I do.
Yes,
the Bible says that the New Jerusalem is coming down from God out of heaven. So that land that they're trampling underfoot, the Gentiles are trampling underfoot right now, that's the old Jerusalem. But the Bible says that the New Jerusalem is coming down from heaven. That's going to be on which mountain? Because I know it's supposed to say on his favorite mountain.
But that's going to be later on, way down the line. When we go home, we're going back to the old. When we
in the land of Canaan.
Right. When we go home, the old Jerusalem and the New Jerusalem will not come in 1,000 years. So we still got to do 1,000 years of peace. That's why I tell everybody, go your road.
Yes.
Let's go down. There's going to be 1,000 years with these kings living today that's going to be peaceful, and we're going to have 1,000 years before the New Jerusalem comes.
That's right.
So, we got a lot. Everything has to be restored back to the place. Everybody has to be restored back to the land, and then we can move forward and live the life that we're supposed to live.
Sister Yehudah, can I ask you this question? I'll probably have to watch one of your videos again. Will we be living, once we get to the land, will we live up to 1,000 years, or will we live up to
once we get to the land and we come out of here, we're going to be placed in a place of safety. That's what that land is. It's a place of safety so that the Gentile story will continue. Because they still have to continue their story. They still got to build the temple. The false Christ has still got to come on the scene. We still got to go through the battle with the Antichrist. All that stuff still has to happen. All that stuff will happen. But Israel will be restored back to who they are, whose they are, and put in a place of safety. Now, while we're in the village of unwalled, in the place of unwalled villages, the story continues. And there's so many other things. Like I said, we have so many videos out there that we talk about that. That once the battle ensues and things get really rough, we're going to take the same journey that our ancestors took to get back to the mountain of Zion. We're going to cross the Red Sea. We're going to do the same thing they did, and we're going back to the same place. Now, once we do all that, then it's only 3.5 years before it's over. But it's a lot that has to happen first.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, just get excited about going home.
Yeah,
because some of us won't die in these lands. Some of us will actually go back to the land of Canaan and actually be buried there. Our grandchildren will be able to play on the streets of the land of Canaan and be back in their native land. And that's what we're looking forward to. We call it the second Exodus.
Yeah, that's right.
But see, when the Gentiles tell the story, the church people tell the story, they tell the story from the perspective that once the Gentiles' reign is over, it's over for everybody, and that's not how it's written. So that's why you got folks still waiting on the rapture. Oh, I'm waiting on Jesus to come in. No, ain't nobody going nowhere.
Mhm. Yeah, I've had some discussions with the people in Christianity about the rapture. I said, where does it even say rapture in the Bible? It doesn't say that. Where are you getting your information from? And then they go to the twinkle of an eye. I said, that's not happening for now, neither. They're not reading it with a spiritual eye. It's deeper than what they actually physically reading. It goes beyond that, and they're not reading it with a spiritual eye. So until the Ruach comes and helps you, you don't understand what you're reading.
I have a question. Speaking of what you were just talking about, so when is the Messiah supposed to return? Does he return after the 1,000-year reign? Does he return before it, during it?
He's going to be there. He's going to be there.
That means he comes before. Because for some reason, it seems to me, I remember a study wherein there were supposed to be supernatural beings in the kingdom as well, and not necessarily angels. I thought maybe there would be some supernatural people as well.
He's coming right at the end of the Gentile reign because he's the one that's going to set up the 1,000-year reign. It's going to be his kingdom. It's his kingdom that he set up. So he'll be here at the end of he's going to come back to fight against the Gentile reign, against the end of the Antichrist who claims to be Christ. The one, that's the way that we read the story. He'll be back for that.
So we go into the wilderness, there'll be a Gentile reign, he'll come back to fight against that, we'll be in a protected place, and then there'll be a 1,000-year millennial reign?
Exactly.
It's right after the tribulation he returns, right?
Yep.
And I think that's Matthew 24:29.
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Where does Jacob's trouble fit into that?
Well, we're going through some of that now.
Okay.
So we're going through some of that now, and we getting ready to walk into that.
I was hoping we were walking out.
No.
Oh, man.
So if we go to Daniel chapter 7, which I'm going to open up and show you. Daniel chapter 7, it talks about him getting a kingdom. And that in this kingdom is where he's going to do his reign. We're going to Daniel. Let me open up the screen here. Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. And it says to everybody, make sure you can see it. Okay, let me save it. All right, there we go. Here we go. It says in Daniel chapter 7, verse 13, and I saw in a night vision. So Daniel was having a dream. And behold, one like the Son of Man. He said, he looked like a human being. He said, behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him, verse 14, dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. And his dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. And Daniel said, and I was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. And I came near unto one of them, he was talking about the angel that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made known the interpretation of the things. He said, the great beasts which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. And the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast that was diverse from all other, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake into pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And now, who is the fourth beast? Somebody tell me who the fourth beast is. That's your Rome. Rome. And of the 10 horns that are in his head, so Rome is going to have access to 10 horns, and of the others which came up, by whom fell 3, He's getting into the European Union. Even of that horn, they had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow. And I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. And thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time, that's 1, and times, that's 2, and the dividing of times, which is a half, and that's 3.5 years. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. So when you go over here to Daniel chapter 2, we got to deal with the statue. Lord, have mercy, y'all got me with the statue. When Nebuchadnezzar had the dream, and he told his soothsayers and magicians, if you can't tell me what the dream is, well, I'm killing all y'all and I'm tearing down everybody. I'm killing everybody. And Daniel was able to come in and tell what the dream was. And watch what he says. It says, so the Most High, he went before the Most High. In verse 19 of chapter 2, it says, then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. So Yah showed him what the statue was. Then Daniel blessed the Elohim of heaven. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of Yah forever and ever, for wisdom and might is his. And he changed the times and the seasons, and removed kings, and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth in him. This is his prayer. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou Yah of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and made known unto me now what we desire of thee, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went in and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and he said unto him, I have found a man, listen to what he said, of the captive of Yehudah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said unto Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king has demanded, cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king? But there is an Elohim in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known unto the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. He said, as for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known unto thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mayest know the thoughts of the heart. Thou, O king, sawest and beheld a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. The image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his legs thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them into pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. He said, Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the Elohim of heaven have given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thy hand, and has made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. And after thee, he said, when your time is done, shall another rise, another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. These are world ruling governments. Watch what he says. The fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. Whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of a strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet are part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. There go your hybrids, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings, so this is so important. When he say in the days of these kings, that means while planes are flying, while cars are driving, while houses are being built, while corporations are being ran, he said in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. He said, for as much as thou saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great Elohim have been made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odor unto him. And the king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is, that your Elohim is an Elohim of gods, and a Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou could have revealed this secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and the chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Guess where we are now, y'all? We down at the toes. The toes that are mixed with iron and clay, which is considered to be the Holy Roman Empire. Any questions?
Amazing.
Any questions?
I don't know if I have a question so much as, well, I was listening to you read, and I'm reading along with you. And when it says that he came before the Ancient of Days and he was given a kingdom, I don't think the Messiah has yet been given that kingdom. And I'll tell you why, because I'm sitting here looking at this, and we have these kingdoms that are now in existence. We have that stone that's going to come and break them. I actually think that the Messiah is the stone that's going to destroy that. And I actually think, I always often think about where it says that if you thought what was done in Egypt was something, just wait until the second Exodus. And I think he is going to be the reason why it's going to be so magnificent, because it seems to me he's not yet been given that kingdom. We are the people. We are the kingdom. When he destroys those kingdoms and puts them into subjection and his kingdom comes forth, that's when I think the Father is going to convey to him that kingdom. And that's when I think we will then, I think that's probably our Exodus. I think our Exodus actually coincides with that. And I think
don't work like that. Nope, that's not how it's written. Nope, that's not how it's written. We leave before the kingdom is set up, and we're going into a place of safety. That's not how it's written.
Oh, okay. So then, okay, well, I'm just thinking through this. So if we go into the place of safety, that the kingdoms still are going to have to be brought into subjection. So if we're in the place of safety and then he comes and gets us, I'm just trying to look at this in terms of a timeline. And I think that as you were reading, I said, I think that this might actually fit in a timeline here. So I understand what you're saying about the 3.5 years in the place of safety, but I also understand that he's going to be given that kingdom. We are the kingdom. And I also, well, I have to give it some more thought, but it was coming there for me. I think there's something for me to mull over there.
Well, one thing about it is he's going to come when the Antichrist steps into the temple and professes to be him. When he does that, all hell going to break loose. That's when it's over.
Okay, so when he does that, we will be in that place of safety, though, correct?
Will be in that place of safety, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He's going to come when the Antichrist steps over into that temple and profess to be him, and that's when all hell going to break loose, because that Antichrist is going to be of the Edomite persuasion, and he's going to step into the scene and try to be the Messiah, and that's when all hell is going to break loose. So, like I said, we got a lot to look forward to. We got to wait. We just waiting on y'all. I don't try to put a timeline on it because there's no need to. You're not going to know it until the time comes.
Can I ask you something, Sister Yaina? While we're in this place of safety and the Antichrist comes and then Yahushua HaMashiach comes, will we be able to see this or we won't be able to see this?
Oh, you're going to see it all. Now, how he going to make that possible, I don't know that either.
Wow.
But you're going to see it all. I don't know how we going to make that possible. Again, that's one of them things where I don't try to rack my brain about. I just want to be, you know what I'm saying? I don't try to put a timeline on it. You wasting your time. Don't try to figure it out. You're wasting time. The thing that we have to be focused with is getting out of here.
Yeah,
stay focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you try to figure, okay, we got 5 more years.
No, I'm not going to. No way. I'm not.
We're going to have 6 years over here, and then according to this, we're going to have, we haven't been given the memo. When it comes time, like we read in the book of Joshua, chapter 75, when it comes time, there's an appointed time for everything. He will reveal how it's going to go then. I've seen so many people of the Gentile church try to say when this going to happen and every time they gave an estimation, it fell to the ground because no man knows.
Because it does say that in Matthew 24, no man knows when Yahushua HaMashiach is coming anyway. He doesn't, not even him. Only the Father knows.
Oh, so no man knows. So when you try to figure, okay, we got 3.5 years here and then we're going to focus on getting ready to get out of here.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not focused on how long. I don't care about that. I just want to be able to go.
You know, that's the one thing that we know. We're all going together. We're getting out of here. But to try to put the timeline together and be like, okay, well, we don't know when this is going to happen and when the Most High gave him the kingdom in Daniel chapter 7. The kingdom given then. It has not manifested itself yet, but he gave him the kingdom in chapter 7 in Daniel chapter 7 with what Daniel saw. Now, it has not manifested itself yet, but it will manifest itself. I just want to be in the kingdom. I don't care when it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I understand you, so when he had that night vision, you're saying that at the point that he had the night vision is when the Father actually conveyed the kingdom?
That's what it say. It said, and he gave him dominion, power, and the kingdom. Yes. That's what it says. So we have to go with what it says. That's why I try not to take it there. I don't worry about it. I just want to get there. I want my children's children to play on the streets of Canaan. I want them to enjoy being home. Because one thing I can know for sure is this is not our home. So that's why I look at that. I don't try to interpret timelines. I don't know. I can't tell you when. I don't know. Nobody knows. And we got in trouble with Christianity because everybody waiting on the rapture to take place. And oh, what a disappointment it's going to be when it don't happen. You know, that's why you do have to go according. Whatever it says is what we believe, and we follow that. Simple as that. So as a nation, whether you're Messianic or non-Messianic, we all going to move up out of here at the same time. We moving. We're going to a city of unwalled villages, a land that is brought back from the sword, and we're going to be there guarded by certain nations. You know? And we're going to be okay. We're going to be able to see a lot of things. We're going to be able to see a lot of things, you know, and visualize a lot of things, but we're going to be okay. The Most High going to protect us because this part of it will be over. This is in Ezekiel chapter 8. Ezekiel chapter 8. And I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but I would read it from 8 down. It says, after many days there shall be visited in the latter years. He's talking about us. Thou shalt come into a land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. That's the only thing I'm concerned about at this point. Now, how long we going to be there and what has to take place after that, we can speculate on that, but we know we going there. And it talks about the different governments that will be there to guide us and to protect us. And then after a moment, the Most High is going to drop it into their mind to try to rob us because we're going to have everything we need. We're going to have land, gold, silver, animals, everything we need. Everything. That's the only thing I focus on. That's one thing I know. We're going back to the land of Canaan, to a place where we're going to dwell safely in the land, and we're going to be guarded by many nations. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, Gomer, and Togarmah. Let me open this up, and then we're going to end it here. I'm going to share this last thing with y'all so we'll make sure we get this on the record because this is still being taped. It says the word in Ezekiel chapter 8, and the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Most High Elohim, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. That's an army. He said Persia.
I believe you're paused.
It's on pause. Okay, let me open it up so I can make sure you get to see it. He said Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmets. So this is an army. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarter and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, listen what he say, and prepare for thyself and thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee to be a guard unto them. He said, get ready, because I'm going to put you to work. He said, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Now, we know this isn't the wilderness, because when we get to the wilderness, the angels will be guarding us. Now, y'all saying, I'm going to move you out of these places, I'm going to put you in a place, and I'm going to let these people guard you for now. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Most High Elohim, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest and dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. To take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan, the merchants of Tarshish, and all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil? Are you really getting ready to mess with them people after all the stuff them people done been through, and he got these people dwelling safely? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? You really finna mess with the children of Israel? To carry away silver and gold? To take away cattle and goods? And to take a great spoil? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto God, Thus saith the Most High Elohim, in that day, listen now, he can identify who the people are. In that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shall thou not know it? He's talking about us. And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north part, thou and many people with them, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land, and it shall be in the latter days. And I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before thy eyes. Thus saith the Most High Elohim, Thou art he of whom I have spoken in old times by my servant the prophet of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years, that I would bring thee against them. And it shall come to pass at the same time when God shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Most High, that my fury shall come up in my face. For I, in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath, have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel. So he's telling you what's getting ready to happen, to everything, but he's talking about Israel. So I know.
Will we be there? We'll be in the land of safety 3.5 years and then go to the wilderness.
No. You got it backwards. The wilderness is the 3.5-year journey.
Oh, okay.
The unwalled villages is something else. The wilderness is a 3.5-year journey. That's the way I'm reading it. But guess what? If I'm wrong and that's where it is, we'll be there already. But we have to make the same journey that the children of Israel made. We got to cross over the Red Sea and all that kind of stuff. So the unwalled villages is where I believe we're going to go first.
First and then to, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Because we don't know how many years we're going to be there. Long as we're away from here. Because wherever Yah has put us, and he's making sure we have everything we need, we're going to be good. Just so long as it's when we get ready to leave, we're away from here. Away from the lands of our captivity.
I understand that, but I have a question about the 7 years. If the 3.5 years were in the place of safety, what are the other 3.5 years? Is that for the nations that are going to be receiving the wrath?
And that's where you got from Christianity.
Okay.
And so that's what we don't even do 7.5 years. We don't do none of that. The Bible never talks about 7 years. All it talks about is the 3.5 years. You can't find 7 years nowhere. We got that from Christianity.
They say, knock me over with a feather. Okay.
It never says 7 years. It never talks about that. The wilderness and every place that we going at the end of the Gentile reign is 3.5 years. When they're talking about we're going to have 2 months of peace and 3.5 years of... No. Nope. So on that note, I'm going to end the recording. Not to say we can hang up from the call, but I am going to end the recording. And for you all who have joined us on the recording, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget our Blog Talk Radio show tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be there tomorrow. The number is 718-664-9551. 718-664-9551. Please feel free to join us. We hope you have enjoyed the lesson, and shalom.